I know something about what it's like to campaign in the last 10 days of a campaign. So we're very grateful to the candidates for mayor who are with us, starting with John. I'm not sure I know him personally, but I sure know his parents. And have for a long, long time, and they're wonderful people. So, John, a few comments. We're going to have some students ask a couple of questions, and then we're going to let you go. John Connolly, right from that. That'll be fine. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Governor, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and Northeastern for putting this on today. I'll be real brief so we can get to the good part, which are the questions. I'll just say the first campaign, I grew up in a political family, but the first campaign I worked on that was not family related was Governor Dukakis' run for president. I spent an entire summer in his headquarters on Chauncey Street. It was a great opportunity for me, and I thank him. He was a phenomenal candidate and a phenomenal governor. I am John Connolly. I'm a former teacher. I've taught middle school in New York City and Boston. I'm a Boston Public Schools parent. I've made the centerpiece of my campaign transforming the Boston Public Schools, not because it is a single issue or I am a single issue candidate, but because I believe it is the connective issue. Our future starts with our schools. If we want safer streets and healthier neighborhoods, we're going to need better schools. If we want a stronger economy and economic opportunity for all, we're going to need better schools. And I will take on the tough battles and make the hard decisions that a mayor needs to make in order to transform our schools. So I thank you for the time tonight. I look forward to the questions.
Okay, Susan, ask one question.
So I'm Marie Francis Rivera, I'm a student here at Northeastern's Law and Public Policy program. So my question is, in the past decade, the city, state funding to the city has declined by 60%, and state aid to the Boston Public Schools has fallen by 30%. I do a lot of work with young people, and they often share stories about their schools crumbling facilities, not having enough toilet paper in their bathrooms, lack of books to complete assignments in school. And this past year, there was a contentious debate at the State House about raising taxes to fund transportation, education, and other essential services. How would you use your influence as mayor to move this dialogue forward?
Well, it's a great question. I would say that I think Representative Walsh and I actually have a difference on this issue, and I know a lot of voters think we're very much the same, but I hope you get a chance to ask him as well. So I start with the Boston Public Schools, as you mentioned, decline in school aid, and I look at $1 billion total budget to run the Boston Public Schools, 56,000 students, the highest per pupil expenditure in the state, and an inability to get every child art and music on a regular basis, an inability to make sure every school is fully staffed with social, emotional health and support services. So I think we have to start by making better use of the $1 billion we have. And that is given the fact that the climate on Beacon Hill seems so often so dysfunctional. A good mayor is going to have to lobby aggressively up at the State House to get the local aid pieces we need, but we're going to have to think carefully about where we're putting those resources: public transportation, public safety, education. I will always advocate for more funding for education, but I truly believe that where we have to start to make our schools work is first with better spending the money we already have, and second, more with structural reform than simply more funding. Because if your programs and your schools are failing, pumping more money in is just going to have a more expensive failure. What we need to do is thin our bureaucracy, take the resources, put them at the school site level, and create autonomous, flexible schools where we put the premium on training great principals. And that's really the key. You have a great principal in a school and you give them a lot of freedom, they will shape a great school community where teachers are going to be leaders and parents will be leaders, and we'll have a real parental engagement strategy. I think those are the keys on education, more so than just getting more money. I'll take the money, but it's not going to do much if we don't have the systemic reform.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another student, introduce yourselves and ask a question.
McCarthy, and it's nice to see you again, Councilor.
Good to see you.
I come from the neighborhood of East Boston. And as you know, right now, the biggest issue for East Boston residents and many Bostonians in general is a proposal for a casino in Suffolk Downs. This is an issue many residents are divided on, and East Bostonians are soon set to go to the polls. My question is, if, hypothetically, the casino proposal were to fail, what would you, as mayor, propose for alternatives for economic development in the area?
So I believe whether East Boston approves a casino or not, the future of East Boston lies more in how the waterfront is developed, and I think it's crucial that they protect open space on the waterfront, but also that they have a vibrant mixed use on the waterfront in East Boston to ensure that we have a variety of housing, so everyone on that socioeconomic ladder can find a home in East Boston, that we have a great mix of businesses in East Boston, and I think the waterfront is more important than Suffolk Downs in many ways. But taking your question, if the residents say no, I would like to bring an entrepreneurship center to Suffolk Downs. The mayor won't have the only say. The owners of the land will have more say, but I would talk to them about bringing an entrepreneurship center there modeled on what we do in the Innovation District in the Seaport, and try and empower small and local businesses in East Boston to take advantage of an entrepreneurship center that would give them space at discounts and provide technical assistance through a nonprofit partner or a college or university on all the issues that new businesses face. But this is a way to both have wealth creation and job creation in the long haul, and I think it would be a great alternative should the people of East Boston decide that the casino is not the way to go.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you.
Thanks.
Hannah Geberts.
Hi, my name is Hannah Gibberts, and I'm a Boston Latin School senior and a BLS Board Fellow. As a senior, it has come to my attention that teacher tenure policies do not evaluate teachers based on merit or performance, but rather the length of their employment. The state law indicates that a teacher must only be employed for 3 years in order to meet the tenure requirement, which potentially ensures the teacher lifetime job protection. As mayor, would you support tenure review for Boston Public School teachers?
Yes, and I've worked with Boston Latin students on this issue and advocating for some changes in state legislation. I want to be clear, I think teaching is one of the hardest jobs there is. I think our teachers go in the classroom every day and give it their heart and soul, and we need to build a culture of development and support for teachers and for great teaching. That's what I want to happen, and as a former teacher who taught for 3 years, which is not long enough to approach being a great teacher, but I did have the benefit to be mentored and work alongside some great teachers. It's critical that we have rules in place to hold teaching as a profession to high standards, but always make sure our teachers know that we appreciate what they do and that we show a culture that's focused on developing teachers. That said, seniority should not control. It should be about the performance in the classroom. And I've worked for key changes on that. It's not that seniority doesn't have a place. All things being equal, seniority, that's fine by me. But what it can't do is trump quality in the classroom. We've made a change in state law. It will be in effect next year. I helped lobby for that change. And it will put the emphasis on performance in the classroom and not seniority. So hopefully we'll take care of this issue that way. Again, the goal here is to develop great teachers. And I think having high standards is part of doing that. Thanks.
Thanks, Hannah. Daniel?
Hello, my name is Daniel Morrissey. I'm a Connolly University student and a site voter. Boston recently unveiled a 75-year bicycle infrastructure plan. However, younger generations are currently frequently on the field. They are walking, transit, and bicycle. So that should be new norm. What can we do to improve bicycle safety and decrease transportation inequality through bicycle infrastructure? And should the current 35-year plan really last 35 years?
So I bike. I don't bike every day, but I do bike. And during this campaign, I've done, I think, 4 bike rides with cyclists across Boston. Partially for the enjoyment, and partially to see what's going on in the infrastructure out there. I'll make it a priority as mayor in my first budget, as part of our capital budget, to begin cycle track expansion. It's vital for the safety of cyclists across this city. We have 1 cycle track on Western Ave right now. It's the safest 30 seconds in Boston biking. But but we need to make that the norm and not the exception. I want to comply and put into action the Boston Bike Plan. And I want to have complete streets planning, where we're putting cyclists, pedestrians, and motorists on an even footing in how we plan streetscape and traffic configuration. And I will adopt that in the Boston Transportation Department. And finally, as I'm sure you know, it's not all about cycle tracks. It's about making sure that we have more bike parking and that we're asking our buildings to take cyclists into account and how they design space. And making sure that we have the whole range of bike infrastructure as we hopefully become a city where we have many, many, many more cyclists using the streets of Boston.
Thank you.
Thank you. Students, thank you. John, thank you very much. I know
Thanks.
this was a tough time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Governor.
Round of applause for our
Thanks,
candidate.
everyone who put this together.
Thank you. Good luck. Take care.